open this window. It's fucking hot. All right, we're live.
What up?
What's up?
Welcome to the Frequency Control Show. I'm Willie Stride.
I'm Rob
And
D-O-double-G in this bitch. I should watch it. We should probably not cuss anymore because if you want to monetize and shit,
let's do it then.
like, because this is positive and it's no real need to throw a cuss word in there. Something like I was feeling it.
It's just easier.
F-bomb.
It's just easier to talk like that sometimes when you're just on a level just talking to a homie like this. But I'm down. I've been thinking about that too.
Yeah, but just I just noticed that like when you start getting into monetizing, I notice the guys they'll say something like, "Well, watch this get demonetized because they say the wrong word or something." You know, like you can't even say the epidemic thing, that word, or like demonetize you in YouTube. Not that we're anywhere near getting that. You have to have like 1,000 subscribers.
Can't even say pandemic.
You can say pandemic, but you can't say what that disease is without them demonetizing that.
Oh.
From the YouTube ads, but you could still get product placements. You could reach out and say, "Hey, Coca-Cola."
Click the link.
Well, no, you could say, "Hey, Coca-Cola, we want me to put this in the thing. I'll have like my desk and the camera angled at me so you can see that I'm drinking a Coca-Cola."
Right.
And they'll pay. You know, I was just watching this thing on Back to the Future and how they started making that show and creating it, and how they're like, once we figured out what we were gonna do, then we started then there's the phase we reached out to all the companies, and Mustang was going to pay us $19,000 to have the DeLorean be a Mustang. And so they were like, well, DeLorean's not a Mustang. So, but it's just that's part of the movie process too. They actually go and call all these people and say, hey, we're making this movie, do you want your product in this movie? And they start getting people to pay them money to have their stuff. That's why if you see a Miller truck driving by, Miller paid to have their truck.
Right.
But that's what we would do for this podcast too, if we wanted to start, bringing in bread, But that's obviously down the road, because they'd want to see that you actually have eyeballs. So they're paying you, and you're like, yeah, I have one visitor or one subscriber who checks this shit out,
Right.
But
so yeah.
Anyway. All right, guys. So today we're just winging it. So we're gonna talk whatever, and typically the conversations go from winging it and get into something great anyway. So no matter what, we know this is what we live, and breathe. So it's not like it's gonna be far off from the others. In fact, it might be better because we're not restricted to anything,
Yeah, this is definitely a winging it episode. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. We're just going to start talking and see where it goes. I guarantee it'll go somewhere.
Yeah, so I'll start off. I've been reading the book Mastery, and a lot of it talks about like, just doing the process of like trying to do something great, and the process of forging forward. I know Will was talking to me about how he's in the spot where he's kind of getting. I mean, when you start to grow out of what you're doing, you start to feel like you're too good for where you're at, and you start to want to be out of that situation immediately, and so now you end up not enjoying where you're at and being miserable until you get where you're at. And what's the problem with that is sometimes you're so miserable you can't actually have the energy to move forward and do something greater. Sometimes people can use that energy and tuck it and make it, propel them forward. But, a lot of times you can just get like in the situation and just hate the fact that you're even there. Like you should be somewhere better. I did that at Office Depot. I was like, I got to get out of here. This is not me. I'm not spending my life doing this, and I need to get back to music. And I was resenting the job when really it was my choices that were doing it. But there's something to be said about when you're going hard at something, you could start resenting where you're at, real quick.
I agree. As a matter of fact, I just had that happen to me today. Some people, being at a job, just being at a basic job, working with people. It's not only I'm very grateful for this job. However, at the same time, it's like the stuff I am doing, that's not really, you know, I'm so grateful to have a job during COVID in these times, that the other stuff that I'm doing, the other stuff that this job is allowing me to do, um, I don't resent what I'm doing because I'm so excited about what I'm doing. I shouldn't be there, but I resent the job, as even like today, a little bit, because of just the people at the job, and the way a person talked to me today, the way a manager talked to me today, that's what made me resent this job. Like, I do not belong here. This person this person who I believe is not more successful than I am, is telling me what to do, and the manner in which she spoke to me is what made me resent my job today. Like, I do not belong here one bit, that this person can even tell me what to do. Not to mention the manner in which she spoke to me to tell it. Um, Today specifically was just, I can't be here another day. However, I need this job right now while I'm building these other things. So I learned, self control, and that's what I be trying to think about in those moments, is just having self control, sucking it up, and then feeling good that I am doing other things, and eventually I will be able to move on. Um, it made me feel good that I have these other things going on outside of this job, that I know won't be long. You won't be speaking to me anymore. you know, and then it happened another. Now I'm starting to remember. Just a couple of days ago, another manager had said something to me, and just the manner in which they speak is just, I don't belong in a place like that with people that are, you know, have small goals like that. You know what I mean? And just, this is what they do, and they're just bossing people around, and that's what, and I just need to be somewhere else where there's a higher level of respect, where there's a higher level of professionalism, and my enthusiasm, and I fit in with my personality and my enthusiasm, and I am able to be successful in it. And yes, I am successful at this job, but that isn't success to me. Just being successful at a job is not success to me. So, um, I'm grateful that I have these other things that I'm doing when I'm in these times where I feel like I don't belong here and there another day.
It's funny that like we had a conversation and got kind of heated in the past about what success is, right? What do you define success as? And I was challenging you on what success was, and now it's even more clear that yes, it's successful to have a job if that is something that you leveled up to, right? Now that's success. However, is it success if you've had that job for the past 30 years and never moved past the same position? I don't see that as really success. Oh, no, it's successful. I'm late. I made it 30 years. Okay. So success is what you make it, what you gauge it to be. But like when Will's talking and he's saying that's not success to me, he's saying now. At one point it was. At one point it was success. It was, fucking I made it to here because I wasn't there before, and now I'm doing. Now he's rise above that to where his next goal is something bigger. So he's hit that. That's the success mark. He's moving forward to the next obstacle and challenge in his life. And so it's funny that happened now, whereas at one point that was success in your life, and now you leveling up to adding that layer. And that's the truth. That's what layers are. I know a lot of people looked at me like when I was younger and would go, damn, Rob, you're kind of going through, like, you're kind of building up your, material bullshit. But like, it was like, well, it was started with layers, just being consistent and, always having a woman, to where you had two people sharing the costs of everything. And then, you know, staying consistent and beating that drum and building, 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 whereas somebody else might not have had that and was going a little bit haywire. And then they'd wonder, why are you, in a bigger house and you got all these toys and shit. And it's like that layer of building. It's just like what Will's doing now, where you've done the job thing, you're getting high pay, you've got other side jobs or side businesses rather, and now you're on to your next business ventures to grow that, including podcasts. And you just like, there's this, it's so funny how starkly different it looks from 5 months ago. You know what I mean? It looks completely like different. The optics on it, someone would have seen you before and been like, "What the fuck is poor?" And to like, "Oh wow, this guy's got a podcast. He's written a book. He's doing audiobooks. He's got you know, products coming out that he'll be marketing and adding value in people's lives with." And it's like it looks starkly different. Doing comic books, doing fucking scripts for movies. I mean, where like all these different things that are like look starkly different. Just like me, 7 months ago, I'm a coffee truck driver. Just because I know Snoop and I know all this other shit, I wasn't doing that at that time. I'm a coffee driver, and I'd have the customers look at me like, "Hey, coffee boy," it's just, you just be like, "You mother," you would just be like, "I'm no coffee boy. Like, I'm not just your coffee boy. I'll do a great job as your coffee boy," and I did. But I'm not. That's not all I am. But at the same time, it's like at that point, somebody could take a snapshot and be like, "This is this guy. This is what this guy is," and it's like 7 months goes by and it looks starkly different. Like, well, what do you do now? Well, I won't bore you guys with the details, but I just done a fucking shitload of things in the last, 7 months. Has just been insane. And, it's like I saw the shirt successfully unemployed, like it's like, I'm not working for someone else. And it's like this successfully unemployed to where you're doing your own thing. And I'm building 5 other businesses. It's so funny. I'm looking at my dream board, which is more of a hodgepodge of just puke thoughts on it. But it's like so many things that he was looking at, say 7 months ago, going, "Man, like, who was I tripping? Who was I fooling with all those goals that I didn't even come close to?" Yeah, I want 100 YouTube channels. I don't even have one. At the time, right? Like I'm looking at, like, I don't even have one. I want to do X amount in passive income. I don't even, not making any money passiving. I want to make X amount on eBay sales. I don't even have any. I'm looking at the board. It's literally saying, I want a placement on this. I don't even have, and then just nonstop going through it, like all these things I didn't do. And then in 7 months, I've caught most of those things. Like, it was just hilarious because I didn't even look at them since in the last 7 months. I haven't looked at them. I've just been so beeline towards what I'm doing. But it's funny how things can look starkly different. But anyway, so that's back to the point is success is like, what's your next goal? But like, what's funny with Will is like, he's now talking completely different than he was at one point, which was more, and I personally feel, and this is my opinion, but like a dog with his tail tucked, like, just give me a job, and oh my God, I'm just so fucking thankful. Thank you for this little bowl of soup, and now we're past that to where it's like, okay, I've got my bearings, now next stage, the moon, and it's like that, it's a completely different attitude, which, I mean, and I was arguing with you. I was like, dude, no, that's not, like, don't fucking settle for that shit. That's bullshit, and you're like, no, man, I'm so grateful for this job at Lowe's. I'm so grateful for this, and that's awesome. Gratitude is rare, but it's funny. Whereas I kind of get where you're at now, finally going, no, that is success for you at the time. Success is where you were at the time. That was a successful, next thing you had to hit to kind of springboard off that to the next thing, and then, to bigger and better things. But it's funny how how that looks now, the optics on it. You would, like I said, 5 months ago, you would have looked at that, you'd been like, what the hell? And now you look at it, like, even with what I'm doing, like, I was at Rio's house, which happens to be Snoop's uncle, but I'm at his house and he's having me help him with something. And I'm looking at stuff and he's like, well, what do I do? And I'm like, well, type in S&D Beats. And he types it in, and it's so crazy that there's this huge footprint now of S&D Beats. Whereas prior to 7 months ago, there wasn't. You can go to YouTube, you can go to S&D Beats website, you can go .com, and you can go to, like, every platform has this music on it, and you just start going, like, there's merch sites, there's all this stuff, and you kind of go, it's pretty wild that 7 months ago you would have typed in S&D Beats and didn't find shit. You might have found a couple beats on YouTube, but it's just wild to see how much has changed. But the thing is, with all those things going, before you actually get there to show anybody, you're currently in the current state you're in. Just like I'm currently in a state where my wife still talks to me like I haven't achieved these things that I'm starting to achieve, and I get upset like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, she'd be like, hey, well, Jim Bob just got this amazing job, and like, I feel like she's comparing me to those people, and I'm like, you don't talk, like, who I am, and what, like, and that's the same thing you get with your job, you're like, dude, who do you know who I am? You're talking to me like I'm just like scum of the earth.
Yeah, it's, oh man, yeah. Uh, I didn't have anything 6 months ago. I was uh, sleeping in my car. Yeah. I didn't have anything else. I had to give everything up just so I can start to build out of that. But yeah, I do remember us battling about that. But I think I was trying to prove more a point where there's levels of it, right? Obviously you go as far as you can see. Definitely, you see further now. But I was kind of believe I was talking about minor wins builds more wins. So to me, getting out of my car and getting a job and getting a home, that's success. Now it's time to go more success. You build off of it and go higher even. But no, definitely was at a whole nother place back then. 100%. That was all I can see, man, is being able to go to the bathroom when I want. And being able to grab my clothes out of a closet off of hangers instead of digging in a bag. I was at a total different place. But now I've got all these kind of things. You know what I mean? That would be a good topic. I don't know. Anyways, you have to start somewhere, man. And it doesn't have to be big. It can be small, just so you can, life is like a game, right? And we make up the rules. So why make them, make them so you can win, And that's what I was trying to build on is, small successes, now that I've done this small success, now I am looking at some bigger successes and growing and keeping it building, because I do have a tendency to make goals that I'm never going to achieve. You know what I mean? So I've learned to kind of dial it down. Plus, it's kind of where you're at in life too. I was in a place where I needed to do little things in order to even realize what the big things are. Definitely, stages of growing is huge. And I'll tell you, being at this job makes it a lot more easier, especially today, right? I'm like so happy that I've been really taking actions and starting to form some things, that I'm doing, and about finished with something that's really cool too coming out here. But I forgot where it was. Oh, going and just glad that I'm at the place where I'm at, being able to do the things I'm doing. So at these points when I'm at my job and I get down because I'm around low vibrating people, um, really makes me glad that I'm doing something that's gonna put me around more high vibrating people, and just more professionalism and a higher level of respect. And I fit in. My personality and my enthusiasm and my passion when I'm speaking about this material of being able to achieve what you want, you know, I need to be talking to people about this stuff and inspiring them. And that's what makes me feel good, is when I'm just being me and doing what I love to do, is talk about this material of how to achieve what I want, that I'm inspiring other people to do the same, and they're going out and doing stuff that's inspiring to me. That's where I'm trying to be, and people thanking me for that. Man, thank you for your enthusiasm. It's just, I don't know. My battery's about to go dead. What's wrong with my power? There we go. It's exciting. Does not want to charge. I might, if my screen goes black, I can't charge this thing. I don't know what's going on with this. No, this is supported. So appreciate those little gains, because that's when you'll be able to start seeing further and turn them into bigger gains.
Yeah, I was thinking it's like steps. Each one of your goals, or there's stages of your dreams. Whereas people, like, I automatically want to start thinking about just the yacht. I've got pictures of yachts all over my house. Well, your fucking brain sometimes can't figure out the path to that yet. So why not create a goal that is on the way to that goal? And so it's like, okay, well, right now you're working at 7-Eleven, and that's fine. But right now you're at 7-Eleven. Can we figure out how to get out of 7-Eleven and do something where you're making decent money, to where maybe you finally have enough money to buy your first house? Then when you're in your first house, you have another side business. Say you do DoorDash and you got an eBay side business, or you do day trading, or whatever it is you do for additional money. Oh, or you could be an engineer or mixing engineer, and you could do like a little mixing or making beats on the side for people, however you're slanging and getting your thing going. And then you get enough money to buy a rental property, your a first little 1 bedroom house. And then you get the money from that, and then next thing you do two. Well, now that's when you're starting to build that little empire. And then your next goal is, okay, now I want to get all my money together that I have from all these rental properties, these side businesses, and I'm going to buy an apartment complex. And then now from this apartment complex, I'll start making money from there. I'll invest that into something bigger, and then commercial properties. And then next thing you know, these commercial properties are doing good. And then next thing you have enough money to where you may be in another venture. And then now you can start to see that yacht a little bit better, right? Your mind can start figuring out, okay, now that we're here, I can kind of help you paint the path to where you're going. What the yacht or whatever it is you want. And a lot of times I notice people, become dreamers when they might not just be dreamers. They just dream so big that they forget the stair steps to that dream. It's not that that dream's unattainable. It's that they're dreaming so big and they can only focus on that they end up not wanting to be in it or thinking they're too good for whatever it is they're dealing with, the stage of it, their first apartment, their first house, their first thing. They're just too big above that because they just think they're in Bentleys and fucking Beamers, and don't want it to understand that this is the stage towards your whole dream. You know, that's why I love Monopoly, because you start out Monopoly and you have a few bucks and you start making maneuvers, right? You're not trying to get boardwalk and all that shit right off the rip, or you'll spend all your bread right off the top. You know, you start out, you got a couple little, spots, that are like little basic spots. You got a like railroad, you got your little stuff, and you build it to where then the next thing you know, you start getting into Park Place. You start getting, next thing you have that whole corner, and you start building to that thing, and then you win the game. And a lot of people want to skip straight to the top, and then they not just complacent, but they get upset about where they're at. And sometimes that'll make them to where they don't even go for the yacht. They don't even go for any of it. They just, now it's just a dream. They're like, yeah, Jimmy's such a dreamer. All he does is say what he wants to do massively, and then never does anything. It's like, yeah, because he wants something so fucking massive. That costs $300,000 just to start fucking even doing a beginning version of whatever this thing is they want to invent. Start out inventing something smaller at first, start out with something, like even Henry Ford started out doing a bicycle. You know what I mean? Like you start doing something first to that point. I made the bicycle shit up with Henry Ford, but point is he did something smaller before he did he didn't just go straight to full on assembly line shit, because they're making cars in less than a minute and shit, so it's like some people, they'll go so big that they kind of crap out into becoming dreamers because they make their dream so big that they just go, that's fucking unattainable. And because I just want to have this, it's like, well, that's cool, man. That's cool. That's so fucking massively awesome. And wouldn't we all want to just fucking, what if I was able to own the whole world? And anybody says you're fucking stupid, now you're just a hater. It's like, no, you're saying something that's massive, and you can't even get yourself into an apartment, or you can't even get yourself into a fucking, a car. Like, so how is it that you can't buy your car, but you're gonna fucking make $1 billion? Like, well, let's see you buy a car first. Let's see you buy your first property. So I like to think of things in the stair step point. It's like, I'm going to start here. I ultimately want to be in this massive space, and you've got to dream big, right? Or you never get there. But the thing is, some people only have the big dream. They only think about the yacht and the Lamborghini. They don't think about, let me start out with a bitchin' Audi. Like, let me start out with the bitch, and then build to that point, that's the thing. And it gets what's funny about that journey is that's where I'm at now, where I've got these things and they're like not as big as where I see myself. And sometimes you start to go, man, what the fuck am I even doing? This isn't stardom. This isn't where I'm trying to go. This isn't superstar beat mogul producer guy. This isn't that. This is like selling beats online, with a little fun on some marketing shit. Like, is this really what I signed up for? Like, what the fuck am I really doing? But you get into that instead of going, no, this is the stage, bro. You create a platform, you create this thing, and then next thing you know, that levels up, and it's just like, you have to start somewhere, right? Start somewhere. It might not be glamorous. Start somewhere, It's like people would have never known. You want to start somewhere, you could dig through trash, flip it, sell it on eBay, and start making money. And it might not be glamorous at first, but the next thing you know, you're $96,000 a year. You know what I mean? You're 96 grand a year, and you're kind of going, oh, that whole looks a whole lot better than what I thought. But there's just like this thing about, like, there's stages to what you're doing, and it's just madly important to understand that. Like for Will, Lowe's is a stage, and it's a great stage. It's something where you have something consistent you can leverage and leap off of, and do that. And sure, there's dumb fucking people in that place, but at the same time, that's a person, right? But don't let that person and that emotion impact the job, and that thing that's a vehicle to help you get to the next checkpoint, you know, and then you hand off the baton to the next thing, you know. It's like you don't want to crap that out and then go, okay, now I can't even fund my next venture, you know what I mean, whatever that happens to be. But it's crazy though. It's there's a lot to be said about understanding the stair steps to what you're trying to achieve, you know.
For sure. So much for monetizing. Oh my gosh. So yeah.
We already cussed, so I was like, whatever. This is yeah. We already cussed. I was like, it's a wrap on this one. So I'll go fuck.
You just
You
get
know.
off.
Yeah, no, we had already cussed in the beginning, and that's when I said we shouldn't cuss one time, and they're like demonetize you. And these aren't going to be monetized anyway, you know, like at first, you know, we would get monetization through other avenues anyhow. Not everyone has to get bread from whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
What's funny is I noticed some of them that don't get demonetized, like Joe Rogan's, and he's cussing and doing all kinds of stuff.
Oh really?
Yeah, smoking weed on the thing.
Well, those will get bigger and have some clout to be able to do some different stuff too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah. God.
You think about that. So from the stair step standpoint, Joe Rogan. I mean, we could talk podcasts like from where we're at. This is a stair step, right? It's like we're doing a podcast with strictly focused on adding value. It was the first time we really even talked about trying to monetize or even get anything out of it.
Yeah, we don't. That is
crap, but
yes.
you know, so that we can afford to keep doing more of these. You know what I mean? But like Joe Rogan, he started out the podcast. He was already famous doing other things. He's a commentator for UFC. He was doing the you know, what do you call that? The show where they eat weird shit and all that, Fear Factor. You know, he was already doing things like that. And then started a little podcast on YouTube and just kind of like, you know, where he brought his homies in and they bullshitted, right? About whatever. You know, he talked about aliens and doing you know, psychedelics and shit, right? And then you know, now here he is, you know, $200 million for a podcast to go on Spotify and all this other shit, you know, but he started out just small, just I don't care. His point is to simply talk about what the fuck he wants to talk about, you know, and that's it. I'm going to talk about whatever I want to talk about, and I don't care. I'm just doing my little podcast. He didn't have any goal for it. He could kind of pump his own little products and do whatever he wanted because he's the boss, because he runs the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then over time, people were like, hell yeah, he talks about cool stuff. He has some cool guys on there, you know, and the next thing you know, he's getting that bread, you know, like, but that thing is like, that's a stair step. He would have never even have fathomed that podcast would have turned into like his main bread. You know, he's thinking, okay, I got to be famous. I'm going to go, be, you know, he, like I said, he was on Fear Factor and he's doing the UFC thing and making probably good money being a commentator for UFC, right? Been with him since day one. And then next thing you know, that's the thing that's making him the most bread is his podcast. You know, he's got the top of the top people on there. You got a waiting list to be on there for like 2 years. And so like it's massive, right? Like the fact that he started out not really going anywhere with it wasn't a big thing. You know, it wasn't a big deal. In fact, Nowdy, our homeboy, he you know, at one time Joe Rogan's podcast was so small that he was trying to get on there and Joe Rogan wouldn't let him on there because their fitness systems clash. He has On It and Nowdy has Functional Patterns. And so those two things clashed and Nowdy was training guys for the UFC, you know, Kevin he's actually a really good martial artist, which is funny because Nowdy was teaching him back in the days. But Jeremy the Heathen Stevens, he trained all these like UFC fighters, and you know was trying to get on Joe Rogan to kind of break down his system, and Joe Rogan was kind of blocking him from getting on there. But that's how small his podcast was. Though, is my point is that the homie was trying to get on there, and now he's got people on there like Elon Musk, who is now the richest man in the world as of last week, over Jeff Bezos, was the richest man, the owner of Amazon. So now Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, and he had the richest man in the world on that podcast, and had him, drinking whiskey and smoking weed on the podcast. The richest man in the world. That's pretty crazy, right? Stocks for Tesla were going down as he was smoking. Like, oh, get rid of this shit. This guy's gonna fuck the whole thing up. But point is that it's the stair step piece, man. He's starting out. He's gonna go there, and then he's massive, right? Most of his podcasts were pulled from YouTube straight to Spotify. But that's the stair step piece. It's like he didn't plan on that. Now he's massively a multi millionaire, farther than he could believe, but wasn't even planning that. And all of a sudden he's like in a podcast, but he knows the podcast is wildly worth money, but he's not making any money off the podcast like that, right? He's making enough to live, but he's not making enough to be millionaires and buy Lamborghinis and shit. All of a sudden he gets an offer for that same podcast that didn't make him a millionaire, and it made him hundreds of millionaire. Like, so it's like like stair step. It's like little things. He didn't go, I want to have a yacht. He said, I'm going to start a podcast. I think that'd be cool. That's going to be success for me. It's going to feed me and have me living. I'll be able to talk to people I want to, and get somewhere. And then it's the next stage. A lot of people end up just wanting to go straight to the yacht. It's like, that's cool. Have the yacht there, but have some smaller dreams before. It's just the same concept as chief aim and next logical step. But people resent the position they're in at the time, because their mind is that they are where their dream is at already. Like, they achieved that shit already. It's like, sure, we can talk all the jargon. I've already done it. I've already achieved it. Okay. But be happy with where you're at and understand that is the step of success you're on right now. And then there's the next step you're going to take. But don't be pissed like, bitch, I own a yacht. It's like, no, you don't yet. You're like 3 different houseboats before that. You're gonna get it first. You're gonna get a boat, then you'll flip it, get a bigger boat, then a bigger boat after that. Then you'll get this really big fucking 200-footer, and then from there you'll go to the yacht.
Yeah, don't jeopardize what's allowing you to grow. That's why I was exhibiting self-control today, specifically today. Exhibiting some self-control and just being like, yeah, okay. I mean, I wasn't even that cool about it. I was just like, sure. But definitely, because I need to leave when I'm ready. I can't risk being forced out before I'm ready. And I am grateful to be there. But every day is my last day.
Yeah, but you're smart. You want to have a good transition to where the timing works for you and what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it'll be, and I can't wait, and it's going to be amazing. Just be able to go like, deuces. I'm ready. I can't wait for that week to happen, and be able to talk about it on this podcast. That today's the day I was able to move on because whatever it is, here it is. Look at it, Yeah.
Will you look at it? Just look at it. So have you ever watched Ed Bassmaster? He's like, will you look at that? Just look at it. But anyway, it's like I, on like certain days, I'll be driving to do my other business, and I'll see my boss from my old company that went under because of the pandemic. And they were really kind of chicken shit about the way they let me go. Just, I pull the truck up and they're there like, here's your last check. Like, well, I have a family, kids, like, you knew this a month ago because all the paperwork was dated a month prior. You knew this was all happening. You could have gave me a heads up like, hey man, you should probably start looking for a job now. We're not doing very good. The way the pandemic's happening, all the coffee stuff shut down. Like you could have like gave me like some sort of like move to kind of adjust and make it, and instead you immediately just did some really freaking chicken shit stuff, and nothing feels better than seeing those guys. And I'm driving my car just going, I have not a wish in the on earth to go back to that fucking job. And it feels so good to be like, I'm on my own. Like, what are you doing now? Well, I'm doing fine. I'm doing my own shit. You guys with your little squirrely stuff didn't stifle me. You didn't, you did what you did. But same thing with my last company, Office Depot. They called me after I left that company. You want to come back to work here? We got rid of homeboy, the boss, and I'm like, nah, man, I'm helping my wife their business, and it's doing great. You know what I mean? It's like it felt good to be able to do that. Like, nah, I don't need you guys. I'm not over here like, please give me a job. I'm adding value in your company, and know that I'm adding the utmost value, and you can't even play with that. Like I should run your whole company. Like at the same time, I'm adding that kind of value because everything I do, I try to do it great. You know what I mean? And it feels good to do that, as it will for you when you say deuces to the company that currently pays your bills and is helping you, and you're grateful for that. But at the same time, it's just as fun to just be like, I'm out. Hey, peace.
I am looking forward to that day. Um, and I think it's coming quicker than I imagine. To be honest with you, because I'm just there mentally.
The best part is when they feel your absence after you're gone without you saying anything, and they just know there's a void without you. Like, man, that person's gone. Like, what? It's like my sister-in-law's husband. He left a company, and he worked his ass off there. They underpaid him, and he's being paid like 50 grand, right? And they were hella underpaying him, and he knew his job well. He'd been doing it. He worked from the ground up, so he knows what it takes for the people that work for him, and his whole team, and they wouldn't pay him. And then they were working him like he was literally working like almost literally every day of the month, not one day off. They would have him working like 30 days straight, not one day off, 12-hour days. And it'd be 12-hour days, and then he'd have to work nights, 12-hour days for a whole week. And he's supposed to get 5 days off because they work 12-hour days, right? So it's 5 days on, 5 days off, 5 days on, and they rotate the thing. Anyway, bottom line is, guy busts his ass for this company, and he does a great job, for them. And he has a boss who starts riding his ass, doesn't care about him, and next thing you know, he gets an opportunity to go to work for another company, and it's Longview, Washington, so it's like an hour drive each way. Adds 2 hours to his day, but they treat him well, and they give him his 5 days on, 5 days off, like he's supposed to get, so he can be with his family. He's a younger, he's got a 2.5-year-old kid, and anyway, sure shit, that company calls him back, and his absence was felt. Him being gone, everybody's like, man, I wish Zach was here. We'd be running shit, like you guys. Everything started falling apart when he's gone. They realized his worth, and just him being gone, he leaves. They call him back and say, "Yo, we'll hit you off with 90G." So he gets $40,000 fucking raise. You know what I mean? Like your $40,000 raise, like. We realize that you're worthy of this, and you're underpaid, and 90G, like which is not a lot of money. I get it, a 90G, whatever, but it's a lot of money for a lot of people, And I mean, people, what you got to understand is when you get $90,000, you're paying half that shit to the government, so you're back to 50. Like it's crazy like that. Like every time I moved up in these companies, like, well, what the fuck? I just got like 10 times the responsibility, stress, extra hours, And you mean to tell me that the government just took all that shit in taxes? Now, oh, you make more money, boom. But you're like, yeah, but I'm doing more shit. Like it's like, so you're like for the extra $300 or $400 a month that you get off top, stressing out and dying and with a heart attack, you know. But anyway, so like, but you know, he's getting 90 grand. So for his family, I mean, they're still bringing in the extra, you know, few $100 a month, or maybe it's even like 1,000 a month. Who knows? Uh, but he's bringing that home. You know what I mean, to his family and to Uncle Sam. But the thing is,
Mhm.
he's got this extra cheese and to help his family out, and it's like his absence is what was remembered. I think there's something to be said about this person's not here anymore, and then they realize all their shit. You know, that's a big deal, especially if you're the person who creates goals and gets goals accomplished and goes and does that. You're that type of person. You have that type of energy and aura around you, and it's like there's a loss in that, you know, and you know that's a big thing, you know, like, and so when you get to finally say fuck you, I'm out, because you guys don't understand that, and you company, you know, promote people that are, you know, have their little power trips because now they're the department manager, like, you know, like, and now they want to treat you like you're freaking half an inch tall, you know, like that's the tough part. But you know, if you did what you needed to do there, that your value will be felt in the negative when you're gone. You know.
For sure. For sure. I'm really looking forward to that day. And after today, that day's coming quicker. Because the more time goes on, the more stuff I'm starting to see, the more things I'm starting to realize. And what's cool about it is it's not even about what else I'm doing. It's just really about that I'm doing, that I just, it's blowing my mind. Uh, just some of the stuff I'm seeing and how I'm being treated, and not really, because you know I really think uh, there is some good people there, um, and good managers there, but I don't belong there. There's so much more that I could be doing, just doing this right here, man. Talking about these exact things and inspiring other people to raise themselves as well. Yeah.
It's funny when people add like the value. They just, it's like people don't understand, like you have to reverse engineer shit. People don't understand the value of what they do, and all they have to do is make a few cents to equate to whatever their current job is, as long as you're willing to put in the work. And it's like you don't have to make that much money to replace your current job, because your current position is helping somebody else fulfill their dream and their vision, and you're not making as much money as you think you're making. So that's the thing, is for 90% of the people out there, because the 1%'s with all the bread, dude. So you're not really making as much as you really think you're making, and people really think that 20 fucking $5, $30 an hour is hard to replace. It is not. You're thinking 25 an hour. If you're gonna be a speaker, and say you go to be a speaker, you know, you're gonna be, if you can just get $25 an hour times 8 is what, $400 or some shit like that, right? What is that? $400 or $25 an hour times 8 is $200, right?
Yeah.
Right, $200 a day. So it's like you only have to make $200 in the whole day. Well, how many hours are in a day?
24.
24. 24 fucking hours in a day. So now it's like it's not 20 fucking $5 an hour. It's not times 8. It's 25 split by 24. Or 25 an hour split, so whatever it is, $200 split by 24. Now you do the math of that. So it's far easier to do. So, just in 10 hours, you're talking $10, an hour, you 10, so
8.3
whatever the fuck it is an hour,
$8.3 an hour.
What's that?
$8.3 an hour.
Right. So if you can figure out how to make that without doing it, if you can make $8 an hour on passive income,
200 a day,
doing God knows what, and remember, you work for a company, a lot of that shit's taxed. Well, now if you work for yourself, most of that money's a write-off that you can figure out, so you can actually get most of the money back anyway. It's like you now need to figure out how to get $8 an hour every hour of the day and night, and that is, you have to break down and reverse engineer that, and people don't get it. It's like, so when you do things like a passive income idea, a podcast, a YouTube channel, you go speak at wherever you're doing, you might be able to make $200 in an hour. I'll go speak for an hour and they're going to pay me $200, which normally it's $30,000 for a speaking engagement. So if you look at Charlie Rocket, he's 2 Chainz's old manager. He got into the whole positivity movement and all that stuff as speakers, and he gets paid $30,000, and he could literally fill his calendar 30 days a month, no problem, to go speak at high schools and random events and make that much money. Or he could just go, you do one event a month, bro. That's 30,000 a month times 12. You do the math. You know what I mean? Clearly I'm not good at it. So, but I know that's like 360,000 or some wild shit, right? So the point is you're now making 300 something thousand. If you just did it that, now say you're not known and you have to do more than one engagement a month, you start to realize how easily that's filled. Or say you're a person who does t-shirts, you only have to sell couple 20 t-shirts a day if they were at $8, but really if they're $25 a t-shirt and they cost you $3 to make and $2 to ship, you're now making $20. You don't even have to, you only have to sell like 8.5 a day. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even that many. So you really reverse and engineer how to get that money back. And it's like, it starts to be eye-opening about how possible it is to just work for yourself and not have to fucking work for anybody else. You know what I mean? Do your own thing and not have to work for some person, because to fulfill your little piddly ass wage, even though it's more than you've ever made, okay, so hold on. Just because it's more than you ever made before doesn't mean it's a lot. You know what I mean? It just, that says a lot about where you were able to make it. It's like, just because you were told this is a good wage doesn't mean it's a good wage. It's a good wage for somebody who just wants to have no stress and go work for some other asshole and know they're going to get the money all the time. And then you don't even know you're going to get the money all the time, because you could be like me, where you park your truck and you go to frickin' punch out and turns out you're getting your last check and the company went under. So it's never a sure bet. You know what I mean? The same thing with Office Depot, Office Max. Next thing, the Office Max employees are come to work and it's like, hey, we just got bought out and we shut this store down. You have fucking 3 days to figure it out. It's like people are crying and upset. I know I was the person who had to facilitate that whole acquisition, right? And it's like you never sure bet, even in the big companies you're in, and a lot of times they'd make some fuckery move, especially if you move up in the company. Like, we've changed our model from a 5-manager platform to a 4-manager platform, and Tommy, you're the one that's got the write-up in your thing for not having aisle 4 clean that one night, so you lose your $70,000 job. That happens. I know people that specific thing have happened to. It's like, I've come to your store too many times and you've lost your $100,000 job because it's just not very clean in here. And they don't understand that this area's got high theft. It's in the hood. It's like, what do you want? They're writing graffiti on the building and telling me to shut the hell up and throw rocks at me while they're spray painting. Literally happens, on an MLK in Portland. But the thing is, reverse engineer it. Your wage is not hard to replace. Like you're talking about, like doing speaking engagements or speaking or being on this. It's very simple to replace.
Yeah, I like that. I sure like that. $30,000 for a 1 day seminar or a 1 day speech. $360,000 a year for a day of work. Once 1 day a month. That
Once a month.
once a month. That's that would definitely be outstanding.
If you get to
And these podcasts are going to lead that.
Gary V gets paid like 300,000 for 1 hour,
Oh man.
and he literally will fill his calendar
People
up
are
with them.
paid-
He now turns them. He turns them down now.
Huh?
Gary V turns them down now. He literally says, "Nah, not all of them, but turns them down." And he's making 300G to show up and have him talk. He talked like a big thing for the Dutch Brothers coffee place, and they'll have all their managers. They call the Dutch Mafia, and they'll have him come and he'll talk to them and break shit down to them. But the bottom line is, say you only got paid $200 to speak, and you did $200, 5 days a week. You're doing high schools, doing colleges, churches, whatever little tiny venues you can do, the Elks Club, wherever you get a speaking engagement, right? So $200, even if you only got $200 for 1 hour, think about it. It's tough when you go, well, I make $200 a day. It's like, well, you can make $200 speaking for 1 hour, but what if you could get 3 a day, and you could do 3 2 times a week? So I have 3 scheduled on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that's basically more money than I would have got paid at Lowe's, right? Because you're going, that's an extra $200 above and beyond the 5 days I would have worked at Lowe's, and I just worked 2 days, and I just did 3 hours of work, 3 days a week, or 2 days a week. Three speaking, like, it's like you start to really figure out how this works, with from t-shirts to whatever. If you decide to hustle it, it's not hard to do. I'm in the next stage after tomorrow. It was supposed to be finished today. I finished the script, I finished all the stuff, but after today, like, to where I'll be doing the sync licensing and DMing and doing all the stuff with the music shit, to where it's like it's a hustle. You're hitting people up, you're communicating, you're rubbing elbows, you're talking about what value you can add, and you start to go, okay, all I need to do is figure out how to make $25 an hour here, and so you're like, do you want to buy a beat? $25. And then if you can sell one beat at $25 an hour, and people would spend $25 all day. If somebody buys a beat or a license for $200 one time a day, and you've hit up 30, 40 people a day. So for 5 hours straight, man, I DM'd and emailed and talked to all these different people on Instagram today that I searched in trending topics and started messaging, and I was able to get one sale today. $200. Perfect. You got to do it 5 days a week. So 5 hours, 5 days a week. They're actually saving 3 hours a day. You can go do something else bigger. Make more beats. Do whatever it is you need to do. But the rest is hustling. I got 4 placements on 4 different TV shows, and now those shows are paying me royalties the rest of my life as long as these shows keep playing. It's so once you start reverse engineering how much you get paid and realize that it is not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. We are told or we were taught from school to believe that the wages we get paid are a lot of money. Go be a whatever. It's a lot of money. No, it's not. It's not a lot of money. Or it's a good job. I work at Alcoa. It's like, no, bro, it's not a good fucking job.
Mhm.
You're settling for a goose egg for little money. You're trading your time, your whole life. You've traded in and said, you know, my life is going to be Alcoa till I'm dead. Like, but I get a pension at the end, and I probably got cancer. I'm breathing in all that fucking metal and weird shit. You know, like it is not a good way. Like I don't give a fuck what no one says. No job out there is a fucking amazing wage. You know, period. None. None. And anything where you get where it's like fucking man, 200 a year, that's solid. Newsflash, you're fucking in a massive tax bracket and you don't actually make 200. You're making closer to the $100,000 range. So you're not even out of the woodwork. I can make 200. I can make 100,000 easily on eBay. Or I shouldn't say easily. You have to actually treat it like a job. But it's like I get to write off stuff. I get to do whatever the fuck I want. You know what I mean? And no, that's not something I want to do because it takes a shit ton of your time. But and to me, shit ton is 4 hours a day, and it's annoying. So like to you guys, you're like, yeah, but I'm working 8 hours a day. It's like you're damn right. 4 hours a day is annoying to me. So and that's only going to graduate as I take those extra hours. Now I bought my time back. So actually, it's more valuable to me to work that angle and reverse engineer it and now take that time to add into other business ventures, i.e., the funnels, the websites, the other commerce things, and then flip those and have all those going to where now you built 6 streams of income, 7 stream, 8 streams, whatever it is you do, and you start to go, well, this one only has to do $8. This one only has to do $2, $3. At the end of the day, I'm actually making 4 times as much as I was making at Lowe's or whatever company you're working for, right? It's crazy once you start to reverse engineer that shit, man.
Yeah. Another great episode. I enjoy these podcasts, man.
Yeah, I definitely look forward to them. Shit, it's already 10 o'clock.
That's why I'm like, we should close it down and not have like a mid. I'm not trying to do it midnight again.
Yeah, that is a good note to close on.
Yep.
Reverse engineer your wages.
Yep.
If your goal is to do something big and you're scared to take the leap, to take the plunge. I've got 2 children, beautiful baby boys at the time, and I quit a $85,000 a year job, a promising career to be a slave, but to move up and be the district manager and possibly the RVP, you know, with district with CEOs of the whole company coming to my store only out of all the whole company, and quit that to go work for myself, and found it strangely easy to replace that whole job, you know, like with my own income and working for myself. That was a big deal for me, but it's scary at first. And the best thing that helped me was, like I said, reverse engineering my wages and how much I could make and how, like, if I turn that into 7 days a week, 24 hours a day of earning, it makes it a lot easier to make what I'm basing 5 days a week at 8 hours, right? You've got all these extra hours to bring in the money. And when you split up how much money you make in a week into the amount of hours in 7 days a week, it's the small number that comes back to you and go, oh shit, yeah, I think I can make that happen on some passive level. You know, it takes a lot of thinking, work, risk, and jumping off. But again, reverse engineering is going to help you figure that out. Again, this podcast is about winging it. Hit the notification bell. It's very easy. Comment, say I hated this, I loved it. Keep it up. Do whatever what you want to do. Next week, I will. There's nobody on here anyway, but if you do happen to be on here, you will be moved to the Frequency Control show and that'll be the actual YouTube channel. That'll be done next week because I'll be done with this funnel and be able to do all that and move it. All those episodes will be downloaded and moved to the new place as well.
Yeah.
It'll have probably a new look as well. Again, please like it, comment, don't thumbs down it, please. Or get the hell out of here. But
I have to.
yeah, so we'll see you next week on Thursday at 8 p.m.
Peace.